24/7 Laredo Talk Show is an independent and original video news channel dedicated to local topics relating to everyday issues that affect Laredo, Webb County, and surrounding areas. Any comments made by guests are not a reflection of the view and opinions of the 24/7 Laredo team. However, we intend to offer you a community program with wide-range views and opinions that reflect our community. No abusive or obscene comments towards any class of people or persons will be tolerated. We believe that an informed community is the way to move Laredo and Webb County forward. If you would like to advertise on the show, you can email us at bordertown2020@gmail.com.
Welcome, Laredo, to another episode of 24/7 Laredo Talk Show. Hi, I'm your host, Jesus Trugat. So this is an original free independent news channel. Talk about issues affecting Laredo. You can like us on Facebook, or you can subscribe by pressing the subscribe button on YouTube, so you can keep up with the topics that are going on here in Laredo. And of course, you can listen in live. Sometimes we go live, so check us out on Facebook. Normally, that's what we'll be. We are very fortunate to have the Webb County Chief at the Sheriff's Office, Officer Scott Avant. Thank you for joining us, sir. How are you?
Thank you, Judge. Good afternoon. Thank you for inviting us. I'm happy to be here on behalf of Sheriff Martin Cuellar. It's been, as you know, it's been recovering from a hard week last week.
Yes.
I'm happy to be here with you today and appreciate this opportunity to speak with you and to your viewers.
Well, I'm glad you could make it. I'm sure the viewers are going to really like this conversation. Now, you're brand new to Laredo. Is that correct, Chief? You just came in maybe a couple of months ago?
Well, I'm brand new to the Sheriff's Office, Judge.
Okay.
I actually moved here to Webb County in 1990 to go to college. And
So, no, you're a Laredoan by now.
By now, yes, sir, I'm a Laredoan. I'm a Cotulla native per se. I lived there until high school, but I'm proud to say I'm a Webb County resident of 30 plus years. I am new to the Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Martin Cuellar gave me a wonderful opportunity and privilege to come here and work and serve him and continue to serve our Webb County community. I recently retired from the Texas Department of Public Safety. Retired with over 27 years of state service. I was the district commander, captain of criminal investigations for DPS, serving 12 of our South Texas counties. Of course, Webb County was our home county.
Right.
And I'm very happy to serve the sheriff now in this new capacity. And I'm very excited. A lot of great opportunities and challenges. And I'm very thankful to Sheriff Cuellar for letting me be here in his administration.
Well, thank you. You know that the sheriff has a good eye for talent, so I appreciate you making it. Of course, I'm glad that you're part of the team now. I'm sure you're going to really like working at the sheriff's office. Now, Chief, you're the pretty much second commander, pretty much up there in terms of the command structure at the sheriff's office. So you're familiar then with what happened with the freeze and so on. You oversee the jail, or you're one of them that oversees the jail, I would imagine, right?
I'm one of them, yes, sir.
Right. Now, when the freeze happened, by the way, what happened, I mean, in terms of the county jail and operations over there?
Well, thankfully, Sheriff Cuellar has the forethought to think and plan for emergencies. And what we did is we followed the sheriff's plan for emergency contingencies. And thankfully, thanks to the Lord, things went off without a hitch as far as us being able to provide our public service and security of our jail facility. We have these contingencies in place, like I mentioned, that the sheriff has organized. We have emergency generators, et cetera, and plans that we just put into action. The sheriff had us squared away to where, thankfully, everything went off without a hitch, and we were able to maintain our safety and security of our jail facility and to be able to continue to provide public safety to Webb County without a hiccup.
So now I take it though that when the actual freeze happened, the generators that the county jail just kicked in, and the prisoners didn't have any issues, I would imagine, or the jail guards.
Yes, Judge. Thankfully, what happened is like what I mentioned. And part of our contingencies is we have a very periodic measures that we have in place practicing in preparation for these events. So yes, things automatically kicked in, and we went by the sheriff's contingency plans to continue to provide security for the jail as well as on patrol in our other divisions.
As I understand, though, that the county jail really has passed the inspection, at least from what I understand, as long as the sheriff has been there. Is that pretty much correct? So therefore, this issues
Yes.
don't stand out anymore.
Yes, Judge. Sheriff Cuellar has maintained a 100% jail compliance during his tenure as sheriff over the last 12 years. That is correct, sir.
How did it go with the dispatch? I mean, if people wanted to make emergency phone calls to the county dispatch number, how did you handle those?
Everything remained the same and without a hiccup, Judge. We again here our communication facility at our administrative offices here as well. We remained open. We have generators here. Same type of contingency plans that we had for the jail, we have for our main office and for all of our divisions across every spectrum that the sheriff is responsible for.
Does that mean then that the substations and I think the administrative office down on Lake Casablanca was also working pretty much?
The substation, Judge, is on a separate component that we share with other county administrative offices.
Right.
Office remained partially closed during this.
Right.
That did not, we went on without a hiccup. That is where we have some.
Right, there was an issue. But let me ask you, Chief, when we were getting reports that, of course, there was partial electricity in Webb County, or at least in Laredo, I understood Rio Bravo, El Cenizo, Mirando, and all those areas, which is literally in the black for about 2 days. What is normally your protocols and your normal steps that you handle things like? How do you handle those things out there in the aligned communities?
First thing that we were doing is we were making sure that we maintained our coverage to where it was seamless, even though during this traumatic weather event that we were going through. We maintained our patrol division operations. We were continued reaching out to the public in all of our different areas of Rio Bravo, El Cenizo, Tri-City area, our other subdivision areas in the county. Nothing changed, Judge. We kept reaching out to the community, checking out on our constituents, finding out in what ways could we help. We were getting calls of some people, of course, that went for prolonged periods of time without water. Some individuals didn't have access to food. The sheriff was able to reach out and in a coordinated effort with some other county officials to provide for some water and some food in some of these emergency situations. Judge, we were open for business and we kept on going.
That's very important because there was a rumor out there in the social media world that there was either some criminal activity going on or criminal gangs out there trying to create havoc in the small towns around Laredo. And but it never came to fruition. I never saw any activity that I noticed. Did you see anything that happened during that period of time? Was everything pretty much in control?
We're aware of those reports, Judge, and we looked into those matters as we normally would, but we did not, they were not corroborated. I think it's just like what you said, they were some social media.
That's all it was. I think it was just gossip and things like that. And but I didn't see anything that was out of the ordinary as far as I'm concerned. I would imagine though, Chief, and I don't know if you had a chance to talk to the sheriff, but I'm wondering whether or not if this were to, God forbid, this would happen again, do you think there's some lessons for us to learn from it, at least at the sheriff's office or at the county? Obviously, lesson number one, you passed it because you were able to have backup generators at work. So that was a big plus. And two, of course, I never heard of any incident of criminal activity in the little communities around Webb County. So that's two that you all did pretty good. But are there any other issues that you think of that maybe we could work on next time around?
Well, there's always room for improvement, no matter what it is that we're dealing with. And thankfully, like we've both mentioned, the sheriff had contingency plans in place and for emergencies such as these. we have already been in contact with Judge Tano Ticarina and the Commissioner's Court. We're very appreciative to Judge Ticarina and the Commissioner's Court for always providing us with a financial backing that we need for the court for all of the equipment and contingencies that in planning that the sheriff understands that we need. And that's been a great partnership with our county government and them providing the funds for these things that the sheriff identifies that our department, our office needs, and that how we can better serve our community. So,
well, as far as I'm concerned, it seems to have worked. It seems that the sheriff's office was definitely on top of things and there were no major issues. Considering the circumstances, we were very lucky that everything worked out for us. Chief, we're gonna take a short break and we'll be right back. We'll continue talking to the sheriff's office concerning the issue of COVID-19.
For 30 years, Buitron Academy has produced great fighters, peace officers, firemen, and many great citizens of Laredo. We teach various martial arts, Savat, Kempo, Capoeira, each in their own traditions, trajectory, history, and pedagogy. Buitron Academy is the first school of Savat in the United States, the first Capoeira movement in Texas, the first Kempo school in Laredo. Buitron Academy is located at 220 West Hillside Road.
Welcome back to the show. We have Chief Scott Avant, who's here with us. He's actually the number 2 man or number 3, depending. It's a co-equal situation. I hear you have two chiefs there, but you're one of the top persons at the sheriff's office. You're pretty familiar though with the system. You obviously have more than 28 years of experience in law enforcement, so you definitely know how it works. Chief, by the way, in the last 6 months, I'm not sure if you were there for the whole 6 months, but you're familiar with the way the sheriff's office runs. Were steps taken by the sheriff or the sheriff's office to protect the police officers from COVID-19, or what steps were taken?
yes, sir. From day one, the sheriff had a high priority to, of course, take care of his personnel to make sure that we were provided with the appropriate personal protective equipment, sanitizing products, sanitizing procedures. Of course, in the jail, the sheriff went through extreme lengths to ensure the protection of our employees and our consumers in the jail. It's been a rough year, as you know, and in the beginning, we've learned as we have gone through this process. But from day one, Sheriff Cuellar provided the leadership to protect us, his employees, and to protect the inmates in the jail and our consumers, and to also help when we're out in the public and when we would come in contact with people to make sure that we were protecting them from any exposure to the virus.
Right. I did notice, which has nothing to do much to do with the sheriff's office, but with all this human smuggling going on in Webb County. It's incredible, all those immigrants without masks and social distancing, and those smugglers didn't care or don't care about any of those things. And you're having to protect yourself as a sheriff deputy when you're doing all those arrests and you're doing all those raids. You really are exposing yourself to a lot of other people's potential COVID-19 infections.
Yes, sir. Like what you mentioned, thankfully early on, sheriff was prepared in this, and he's a big planner. He contends for contingencies, and he made sure that we were protected when we came across anyone while conducting our duties. And if we had to be with someone and get within an uncomfortable distance from someone, we were provided equipment to where we could mask people. And like you mentioned, what immigration is dealing with.
Yeah, that was still a big issue.
Yes, sir.
Uh, the issue of the county jail, I mean, the sheriff did during the process, he was transparent and told the public, obviously in jail situations, you're gonna maybe have some COVID-19 infections, and there were some. I would imagine the sheriff did follow whatever procedures that the state of Texas provides in handling the county jails and try to keep that to a minimum, pretty much. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. In fact, the sheriff went above and beyond what was required for the standards. The sheriff had the forethought to install clear plastic barriers between the cells, had continuous sanitizing tunnels to where employees and individuals could be decontaminated. Now we're able to test as you go into the jail. Everything is segregated, and I'm happy to say that through Sheriff Martin Cuellar's leadership, the jail, COVID-wise, is, if I dare may say, is a very safe place to be. At the moment, we're down in low single-digit numbers, and the sheriff has maintained low infection numbers in the jail. And right now, our staff is doing very well too. We're back fully staffed.
If someone comes up COVID positive, one of the prisoners, I would imagine they're taken to a little medical area, or I would imagine that's where you place them. Is that pretty much?
Yes, when they come in, they're quarantined. We do the test, but they're beside that, they're quarantined for a certain amount of time, and they're not moved into different parts of the population until they come out negative on their test. And
Yeah, I've heard of that you pretty much separate them, sort of like you do your classifications. I'm sure that's what you basically do as well.
yes,
As it deals with law enforcement out there in the community, in terms of in the areas like Mirando and Bruni and down in Rio Bravo and El Cenizo, I would imagine that you made whatever changes you needed to make to keep safe your employees. I mean, you didn't lose any sheriff deputies during that period of time. I mean, you may have had a few who got infected, but your schedule has been pretty much consistent in terms of going visits to all those areas.
yes, Judge, COVID has not slowed us down as far as our coverage and protection for Webb County and our citizens and visitors. Right. That aspect has not affected us at all. Sheriff has made sure that there has been coverage through our patrol division, through all of our divisions, and of course our housing of inmates at the jail. That hasn't slowed us down. We had some of our employees that naturally contracted COVID through different.
Or you bring them from the outside, So
bring it from the outside.
It's gonna. Yes, it could continue to grow from within that way. So I understand all that. And I guess the last question, I saw the sheriff last week giving out a whole bunch of food and water in the communities. So that's part of it. Is this part of his community outreach, or is that was one of the ways you deal with law enforcement? Is that part of your law enforcement duties, pretty much?
The sheriff has a big heart, Judge, and he loves Webb County, and he is very proud to be our sheriff. And the sheriff, on a personal note, does everything that he can, that he has the resources to where he can make a difference. He goes out and assists the community in these areas. And yes, during this time, sheriff went out and was able to get to some areas that were in critical need of some food and some water. Of course, we couldn't reach everyone in the county, but the critical areas that we became aware of, the sheriff wanted to make sure and go out and make sure these people were okay and had some, at least the basic necessities that they needed to help them get through that storm.
I guess in closing, Chief, is there anything else you'd like to add to tell the public concerning the sheriff's office?
The sheriff's office is open for business. We're here 24/7, here to serve the public. Since COVID-19 came around, the sheriff has not closed down the offices. The sheriff has ensured that we maintain public safety, and to continue building on the public's trust and confidence in him and his sheriff's office. And we're public servants, and we're very thankful and grateful. It's a privilege to serve Webb County. And Judge, thank you very much for allowing me the opportunity to be here today on behalf of Sheriff Martin Cuellar. We're thankful for you and for what you do for us, sir.
Well, Chief, I want to thank you for being here. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully we'll be able to see you again. The goal here is to try to keep the public informed about everyone. And especially we want to hear the stories out there, because this people were really unavailable pretty much for a few days last week. But it's good to hear that the sheriff's office was always on 24/7 and they never lost a beat. So kudos for the sheriff. Thank you very much. I appreciate the support that you gave the community. So thank you again. I want to thank you for being here. Hopefully you can come back again, and we can hopefully not talk about this. We can talk about other issues down the road.
Yes, sir, Judge. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I want to thank you, the public, again for watching the show. I remind you, please check out our YouTube channel, and remind everyone to please stay safe and stay home when you can until you get those Pfizer shots or the Johnson & Johnson vaccines. Hopefully soon we'll be able to go back to normal. Y'all continue to have a blessed day. And thank you again, Chief, for being here.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.